Welcome everyone to Nintendo Game Talk. My name is Coloco and today's topic is going to be how Nintendo will not be the same after this E3. I think it's kind of funny how some people are saying that they're disappointed in Nintendo's E3 showing and how it's not really that much to talk about when in fact this is probably the most game-changing E3 that Nintendo has ever had, and most people just don't realize it. From this point forward, Nintendo is a different company altogether. Something happened at this E3 that is going to be the separation of the Nintendo from before this E3 and the Nintendo after this E3. Now let me start by explaining that with the Wii U, we got used to one thing with the Wii U, and that was the lack of games and the space between getting games. The Wii U has some fantastic titles, but it was always 4, 5, 6 months in between titles, and during those times, we didn't have third-party support either, so guess what? There wasn't anything to play on the Wii U certain times of its life. A lot of people thought that the Switch, especially with the first year announcements, that it was going to be something completely different, right? And even with Breath of the Wild being released day and date with the system, there was a little bit of lull between Breath of the Wild and when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out. And even then, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was basically just Mario Kart 8. So a lot of people were saying, is this more of the same? Even though I wasn't personally saying that because I put like almost 300 hours in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So actually more than 300 hours. So I knew that if you were going to enjoy that game, you had plenty of time to do that, and you didn't really need to play anything else. And there was still, smaller indie games sprinkled in between there, and things like Lego City, also in there in the first month or so. But there was still some critics saying that Nintendo was back to its old way of being, no games, nothing to play with on the system. Well, the later half of 2017 came, and that pretty much shut everybody up, because that's when we just got an explosion of games, third party and first party, everything in between, and everything seemed to be turning around for Nintendo at that point. This was no longer the Nintendo of the Wii U era. Now there was not only games to play, but an overabundance of games to play. Well, then the first half of 2018 happened, and although there has been major games being released, a lot of these are ports. Donkey Kong, Tropical Freeze, Bayonetta 1 and 2. So there wasn't a whole lot as far as to new, fresh experiences on the Switch. There wasn't a whole lot in 2017, so a lot of people started saying the same thing again. Oh, this is back to the Wii U days. This is back to... there's nothing to play on this system. There's not, even though in my personal experience, I've been way too busy with indie titles alone on the Switch to even, welcome any kind of thought like that. But that's not everyone. Some people aren't into indies. I understand how some people can think this way. I really do. However, this E3, there was something that happened in this E3 that will separate the Nintendo before this and the Nintendo after this. And that is the release of Fortnite, the release of Paladins on the Switch. Now, it's only one game, you might say. It's only two games, you might say. To me, it's way more than that. Fortnite is a phenomenon. Fortnite is the biggest game of the industry. It really is right now. And that could change because, PUBG was the biggest game of the industry, and that's no longer true. Now it is Fortnite. And that can change, 6 months from now. There could be some other game that's the most popular game that everybody's playing. But just the fact that now you have these games on your system that you can pick up and play, put down, you can leave it for 2 or 3 weeks, come up, go back to them. You can spend hundreds, if not thousands of hours into these games. This on top of their first party stuff that's coming up, on top of the fact that they're bringing more games like this. Arena of Valor is coming out, and a lot of people might not, might scoff at a game like this. It's a MOBA, mobile online arena battle, I don't know, something like that. Battle arena, yeah. I love MOBAs. I love Dota 2, and I actually played a little bit of this Arena of Valor on my iPad. And you know what? It's very addicting, and it's a lot of fun. But it's a game you could put hundreds of thousands of hours into it, and not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds to thousands of hours into it. This is huge. This is absolutely gigantic to have these games on the Switch, because this opens the floodgates. This opens the doors, because now developers are going to see Fortnite. Hey, Fortnite's making a ton of money on Switch, and trust me, it's making tons of money on the Switch. Everybody that has a Nintendo Switch that has not tried Fortnite is definitely downloading it and trying it out now. So we are only going to start seeing more games like this on the Switch. This, on top of the first party support that is still being poured in by Nintendo, tells us one thing. This will no longer be a system where you will have nothing to play on. Now Nintendo is going to be synonymous with gaming. It is back to its prime. It's back to being a system for gamers. This I can assure you. From this point forward, and if it wasn't like that already, because a lot of people will try to argue that Nintendo Switch is already a system for gamers, and I am not disagreeing with that in any notion. But for the majority of people out there, for the majority of gamers, remember that you got to try to look at things from a different perspective. There are a lot of gamers out there that only game on a PS4, that only game on a PC, that only game on smartphones. There are a lot of gamers out there, and they are gamers. To say that they are not because they game on just a certain machine is false. So you can't do that. So Nintendo Switch from now on will be known as an ultimate gaming machine, because now it has games. Not only Nintendo first party, not only even third parties, but it has these games, these phenomenon games, Fortnite. And as much as you think that Paladins is a small game, it is not a small game. It is always in the top 20 or 30 on Steam as popular games go. And also, a game like Arena of Valor, do not count this game out, because even though you might not catch on too much here in the West, in Asia, it is like the #1 mobile game played or something like that. And it is a lot of fun. So you're saying, so what? So a couple games that are on there on the Switch, what's that going to do? That doesn't assure it that in 2020 these games are no longer on the system. And I would argue that their assured success, because I could guarantee you that Fortnite is already a success to that studio on the Switch. Every time I turn on my friends list, you see nobody playing anything else but Fortnite, Paladins, Fallout, that new Fallout game coming out. These games are getting played. They're getting their money. So these developers are getting their money. You don't think they're gonna notice that? You don't think that they're going to try to port as many games possible to the Switch after this? Because before, it was on the Wii U, they ported all these third-party games. They didn't perform well. Well, that scared third-party game companies out of the system. So this is the quite opposite. This is the opposite that's happening. So you're seeing all these games come to the Switch. They're being successful. Their only trajectory is up here. There is no going back down. And the Switch is such an easy system to port. Remember, it is the easiest system to work for, from the Xbox One to the PS4. the base models. I don't know about the new ones, but I myself talked to 2 developers last year at E3. No, look at me, I'm a big shot. Ooh, no. No, but I really did. And I asked them because I was curious, how easy was it to work with the Switch? And 2 of them told me face to face. This is not somebody that read it on a message board. This is not someone that sent me a DM. I spoke to a developer face to face, and they both told me the same thing. The Switch is the easiest console to work from the big 3. Now maybe the the Xbox One X is easier. Maybe the PS4 Pro, maybe that's easier. I don't know. But this is what I was told last year at E3. So this only makes developing for the Switch and the developers to bring their games to Switch even more so that they're going to want to port it over, especially if it's selling like crazy. So rejoice, my fellow Nintendo fans, my fellow Switch owners. The days of not playing anything on a Nintendo system, they are gone. From now on, you are only going to get more games, and you will always have something new experience, new games on the Switch. Well, that's about it for what I have to say, but I want to know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let me know below. And this is the part of the video where I thank you for listening to what I have to say. Thank you so much. And if you did like it, you know what to do. You got to hit that like button. You have to hit subscribe. You got to, man. You got to help me out here. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and stick around for more Nintendo Game Talk. Later.